I'm going to just start with the facts. I'm sure a lot of people know them, but there were a couple of things I came across and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So on the 3rd of October 2016, Kim Kardashian is the victim of an armed robbery in her hotel in France. So I learned some things about this hotel. To stay in this hotel, you have to be rich and or famous. You know,
What?
you can't. Yeah,
it's a specific hotel.
Yeah, it's called something. It translates to something like the hotel with no name or something like that. It's
Okay.
like people don't know about it unless you're rich and famous,
God.
and you can't stay there unless you're like referred by someone who's rich and famous, or you are rich and
That's
famous.
bizarre, and I hate it. I
Yeah,
hate
same.
that fact.
And someone who like works there was like, I wouldn't really call it a hotel. It's more of like it's like so elite that it's more like, I don't know, it's some sort of hybrid of like a hotel and a home and like the richest thing you can imagine. It's weird. But anyway, the rooms start at $1,120 per night. And that's the starting price. Like that's the cheapest room you can get for one night. So
insane.
And then it says that there's a 1-to-1 staff to guest ratio. So I assume that's like, yeah, one member of staff to one guest. Which
Your
is
staff member.
Yeah, right? Insane. So I just thought that was crazy. But they also say that the hotel is a prime target for these crimes because it has lax security, no CCTV cameras, so that the guests can come and go in privacy.
Well, that sounds like it's a front for something. I'm sorry.
Right? Doesn't that seem weird? And a code on the entrance door that an employee would say is known by all because it allegedly hasn't been changed in 6 years.
Are you joking?
Or it hadn't been at this point in time. So
yeah, you bloody hope they've changed it now.
It certainly seems like, yeah, you'd hope they've got better security now because this seems like the sort of place that you basically could rob. Like, I mean, this robbery is thought out a lot more than the ones Holly talked about, but at the same time, I think the fact that this place has no security, it wouldn't take a lot to get in.
That's so dangerous as well, especially because the whole point of being in a hotel is that you're supposed to feel safe and secure, and you're not supposed to be worried about your safety.
Kim clearly did because basically she returns home at 1 a.m. to the hotel. Okay. She has a bodyguard with her, but they only travel at this point they only travel with one bodyguard, and it's Kim's specific bodyguard. And she said instead of him staying with her in the hotel, she sent him to go out with Courtney and Kendall, who were out like clubbing, because she thought they would need to be like protected. So she is alone. I think her like long-term friend, who's maybe her makeup artist, is staying with her as well. But it's such a big, I wouldn't call it a hotel room. It's more like there's like floors to this. Yeah. Okay. So I think her friend was downstairs or in a completely different part when this is happening. So she returns home at 1 a.m. and she starts doing some work on her laptop, which I've got to give her credit. That is who comes home after a busy day.
Partying.
Yeah. She's basically been at Paris Fashion Week all day doing like press and stuff like that, and then comes home and does work on her laptop. I mean, I've got to give credit where credit's due. And then she
works hard, but the Kardashians, in some aspects of their life, work harder.
Well, I definitely would say Kris works this hard. Kim works this hard. That's probably it. I doubt the others work as hard as them. I think Kylie likes to think she does, but I reckon Kris does a lot of Kylie's work for her. Yeah. So then in Kim's words, she says that I heard a noise at the door, like footsteps, and I shouted asking who's there. And then she said, I've heard her in interviews say as well, she thought it was Courtney coming in from her night out, and she was being really loud. So I think she was being like, what are you doing? Like, you're being so loud. You know, sort of thing you do when your friends come in and they're being super loud and you're just kind of annoyed at them. So she's saying, who's there? And then no one's replying. So she starts to think something's up.
Horrible.
She goes to call the police, but she doesn't know the number. For like, she's thinking 911. She doesn't know the number in French. So then she goes to call her bodyguard, and then they come in and they grab her phone from her. And then two people come in, plus the night manager who they've tied up. They bring him in as well, and they're dressed as policemen. So I think for a second she was just like, what's happening? I think that's how they got into the hotel. Right. Because the night manager was like, oh, they're policemen. And I think he said that at one point he thinks they're anti-terrorist, like police people. So that's why he was kind of cool with letting them in to begin with. And then she says, they grabbed me and took me into the hallway. I was wearing a bathrobe and she was naked underneath. Then we went in the room again and they pushed me on the bed, and it was this time they tied me up with plastic cables and taped my hands. They They then put tape over my mouth and my legs. And then she reported that they stole 2 diamond Cartier bracelets, a gold and diamond Jacob necklace. I don't know half these designers, guys. I don't know anything. Lorraine Schwartz diamond earrings, a gold Rolex, and other items, and says that she thinks they robbed her of about $5 million. And then since then...
God. She's travelling with 5 million... More than that, because that would have been everything.
No, because in another interview, she said that she basically took all of her jewelry to Paris because I don't know if this was her first Paris Fashion Week, but I don't know, maybe she was super excited about this one.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, I'm going to Paris. I need to be prepared. Like, it's really bougie. Everyone's going to be dressed up. So she took everything. But we'll get more onto the jewelry in a bit. But yeah, people have been since arrested. I think there was 17 people arrested. And they were aged between, like, a lot of them were in their 50s. And one of them was in their 70s. But I think, like, 2 people actually did it, but then there was a lot of people around the hotel doing different things, and a lot of people undercover. So I doubt the people who came and, like, basically attacked her.
70-year-olds, yeah.